Well, hi there, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Real Estate Investing. I'm your host, Sharon Vornholt, and I'm so happy you're tuning in today. Today, I want to talk about how you follow up after the seller has said no to your offer. Now, we've all had this experience where we make an offer and the seller says no. So what is the best way to go about following up after the seller says no? Well, the best way is the way that will get you a yes to your offer. But how do you do that? I want you to realize that this is a follow-up strategy. It's a marketing strategy. So if you need to update your marketing plan for the next 12 months, grab a copy of my free Quick Start Marketing Plan template. You can get that over on the Louisville Gals Real Estate blog, or you can go directly to sharonvornholt.com/marketing plan. And you can get your own template and you can plug in this follow-up as one of your main marketing strategies, because this is one thing that will get you more deals than almost anything. But let's back up just a little bit and talk about making offers first. Now, how do you make a good offer? What are the things you need to know? And what is the process that you need to follow every time? Well, at a minimum, you need to know a few things. What's the ARV of the property, the after repaired value? How much will the repairs cost? What are the holding costs to hold this property for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or longer, however long it takes you, especially if you're doing a full gut rehab? How much is it going to cost you? But probably the most important thing that you need to really get clear on is, what problem does the seller have that they need us to solve? What is the problem that they need solved? Now, it's rarely just about the money. You know that. Sure, they want the cash. They want the quick, hassle-free closing and all the things that we promise as investors and that you should deliver on. But understand that these sellers are typically moving away from one uncomfortable situation, one thing that's a problem or one thing they want to get rid of, and that might be a property, or they're moving toward a more desirable outcome. So it's this whole pain plus pleasure thing. And understanding their motivation will help you greatly when it comes to follow-up. When you focus solely on how you can solve the seller's most pressing problem, everything becomes easier. And that includes the follow-up after you get that no. So get clear on the problem, then move on to finding a solution that works financially for both parties. When a seller is assured that you can help them with the pain versus pleasure part of this equation, when they will often become more flexible on things like price, terms, and other things that benefit the investor when they're structuring a deal. So, okay, let's move on. When you get a no, even though you've done everything right, you think you've made a good offer, what happens when the seller still says no to your offer? What do you do next? Well, first of all, I think of these not as final and complete no's, but as not nows. So they may be saying no and really meaning not now. So that means it's vital for us to have a follow-up system in place, knowing that this is kind of an open-ended situation. Understanding their problem and their unique situation will serve you well when it comes to follow-up. When you understand their why they turned you down, and why they need the solution to their problem, what is all behind this, that puts you in a better position in the follow-up sequence, whichever way you choose. So the fortune is in the follow-up, my friends. As I mentioned before, many times in different podcasts, as many as 80% of your deals will come from consistent follow-up. Now, think about that for a minute. That's a really big number. A lot of these will be after the seller said no to your initial offer. Now, this is likely because they perceive your offer to be too low. But it could also be that you made a low offer and maybe they're just not quite ready to sell, especially at a discounted price. In all likelihood, if someone walked up and offered them full price or the price they thought they should be getting, we'll say, what they think they should be getting, they might have taken your offer, but that's not the case with real estate investors. So think of the no as simply not now. Now, when it comes to follow-up, as I said, 80% statistically will of your deals will come after or as a result of follow-up. And another statistic to know is that about 90% of the people, real estate investors is who I'm talking about, those people, when about 90% of those will stop all contact on or before the third touch. Now, that is 100% true for direct mail, and it is 100% true for most other types of follow-up. Imagine this, you've got a typical probate deal. This typical probate situation where it will be open for a year or more, start to finish, probably will be open a year or more. And your perceived competition stops all contact on or before the third mailing. Where does that leave you? Well, it leaves you with a huge advantage in the marketplace. Now, a lot of investors worry that the sellers will get mad if they follow up for an extended period of time. And this could be true in a few cases, but I found that it generally is not the case. If you explain that you just want them to know that you are still interested in the property and you will be there whenever they're ready to sell, that you would like to be their plan B if their plan A doesn't work out, they'll be okay with it. Now, maybe their plan A is they're going to sell the property on the MLS. That might be their plan. In reality, it may not happen because of a lot of reasons, but we'll just keep it simple and say it hasn't sold on the MLS, or they haven't gotten this perceived price that they've considered to be fair from their investors, the investors that have shown up to look at the property. Your goal is to stay top of mind, and so that they remember you when they do change their mind. And many of them will change their mind. You'll get past that no, and down the road, they will change their mind about it. So what is the best way to follow up? Well, let's look at all the different ways that you could follow up and some of the statistics behind it. And these are true for sellers that have said no. They're also true for all types of marketing. So number one would be direct mail. I believe you should drop them right back into your direct mail campaign. Let's say that you have spoken with the seller of any type of property, but let's say it's a probate property. They said no to your offer. You explained to them that if they change their mind, you'll be here. Put them back in your regular direct mail sequence. Mail everybody every month. That's the rule. If they call and ask to be taken off the list, then fine, take them off the list. You don't want to aggravate people unnecessarily. But here's a tip for you. If you just ask them if you can keep them on the list in case they change their mind, in case their plan A doesn't work out, more often than not, in fact, in most cases, they will say, sure, keep me on the list. And then you can just say to them, let me know if you sell the house and I'll quit sending you this aggravating direct mail. And everybody has a good laugh. Now, what about in the short term? You can definitely call them if they have called you first, is the rule for probates. For other niches, you'll probably be okay picking up the phone and just calling them anyway. The general rule for probates is no cold calling. They hate it, and you won't get any deals by cold calling this group of people. But once someone has reached out to you, it's always fine to follow up with them with a call. For many other niches in real estate, you can just pick up the phone and call them. But for today's purposes, we're talking about the situation where you've already spoken to the person and they've said no to your offer. In 2020, Pew Research said that 8 in 10 Americans say they generally don't answer their cell phone when an unknown caller calls. 80%, 8 in 10, do not answer their phone. So while you can call, you can leave a message, you're going to have a pretty low response rate of people getting back to you. Now, how does that compare to email? According to the email provider Constant Contact, the average email rate is just over 20%. That statistic is not true for a lot of people that have taken time to nurture our list, but that is true in the general sense of the word. And since you haven't taken the time to nurture this particular person you're emailing, I would say that's a very 20% would be a really good open rate for something like that. They would certainly be more apt to open the email from someone they know or someone they're expecting to hear from, like if you've signed up for a rewards program somewhere, or you've signed up to receive promotional offers from some company, some department store or something like that, then that would be someone that you were expecting an email from. But in general, if you, as a real estate investor, are following up by email to someone that has said no to your offer, you probably won't get a great response. Does that mean you shouldn't email them? No, because what if you only got 20% of the deals? You might, 20% of the people to call you back. You have to decide really what's right for you in this situation. But a better way to do this after they've called you, after you've made the offer, and after they've said no, is to try texting them. Now, here's another statistic for you. According to SMS company, the SMS company SMS Comparison, they say that 95% of SM messages are opened. Now, that's really big. Remember, 20% on email. Remember, only 20% of the people answer a phone call on their cell phone from someone they don't know. But a text message, 95% of them will get read. And a large percentage of those will be responded to within 3 minutes. That is really a game changer. So in my book, following up by text gives you a huge advantage. Now, once again, you have to do whatever feels right for you, okay? Don't do something that puts you in an awkward position and makes you speak in an awkward way. So follow your gut on this one. Okay, one last thing before we wrap this one up. What's the best schedule for follow-up? Well, here are my suggestions. Once you've made an offer, follow up daily for a couple of days afterwards, and then every 2 to 4 or 5 days, as long as they are still trying to sell. Once again, you should come outside of your comfort zone a little bit on this one and not be so focused on bothering them if they haven't told you to back off. Now, that's not to say to harass them, but for daily, for a couple of days, a few days after you've talked with this person and they've said no to your offer, and then every 2 to 4 days, as long as they're trying to sell for up to a couple of weeks. Now, after a few weeks, check in periodically and see if they've sold the property. You might check in twice a week at that point. And don't have a real big gap there because it's likely that another investor will come and jump in your spot there. After a month, here's a tip for you for that one. Just check in with them and have some sort of a greeting. Like you can say, I hope you're doing well. This is Sharon. I wanted to let you know I'm still interested in buying your property. You can do that for a month or 2 or 3, but be sure and change up your greeting. You might even say, hey, it's just Sharon. I looked at your property a few weeks ago and I'm checking back to see if the property is still available. So just change it up a little bit. Once you get further down the road, let's say it's been 3 months, 6 months or longer, if the property hasn't sold, you look on your, here I would look on the tax assessor site. You can look on the appraiser site, depending on where you live, wherever it shows who owns the property in your area. So if the property hasn't sold and it's further down the road, just send them a text and say, I'm looking for another investment property. I need to buy another property, and I wanted to see if yours has sold or if it's still available. This is a good time to just say something like, also, I wanted to see what kept you from accepting my offer. So you could have a 2-sentence text in that case. What you want to do to the first question is you want to find out if the house is still available. So you want to get a yes or no on that one. But on the second one, you're trying to get feedback on what the reason was they didn't accept your offer. Was it the price? Did they find someone who offered them something that maybe you didn't even think to offer? Maybe they'll say, well, I took the same price, but they offered me this. Or they were able to do this for me. But that is such valuable intel to get back. It helps you with future offers. So always try to find out why they didn't accept your offer. But always remember that 80% of your deals will come from consistent follow-up. Now, what are some things that you can do to be different? Well, there's two things that I like to use, and I've talked about these for a long time, but I have to tell you, they still work as well today as they did a decade ago. Number one is send the people a personal note. If you have tried one of the other ways of communicating, and by the way, you should have sent them a thank you note, regardless of whether or not you got the deal, saying thank you for showing me the property. You should always include a business card, because chances are they threw that darn thing away as soon as you left after you made an offer they really hated. So that's one way. If you can also check in with sellers by just sending them a note if you don't get a response from one of the other methods. Be different. Nobody's doing that, and it takes just a minute to do it. The second way is to send them a video. I am a big fan of Bonjoro, and that's BONJORO.com. You can start for free with that, but what I love is that you can whip out your cell phone. You can also do this on your laptop, but you can whip out your cell phone. You can say to them, hey, it's Sharon. I just wanted to see if you sold your property or whatever. You can also thank them for showing you the property and say something like, even though we didn't reach an agreement, I would love to be your plan B if things don't work out with your listing on the MLS. You just tailor the message to whatever you want to do. There's no really right or wrong way to do it, but keep it short, a minute or less. You can then pull up that video and send it to their, email it to them right straight away from Bonjoro. So it's a really simple process that will get you great results over the time. Mike Michalowicz wrote a book called Get Different, Marketing That Can't Be Ignored. That is a great book. And regardless of what types of marketing you do, you should definitely get that book. Your goal as a real estate investor with marketing, with follow-up, and with all the things around making offers in real estate is to have these people remember you. It's important that you communicate with them properly, and that maybe you tell a little bit of your own story when you're looking at the property. People remember stories. So be memorable. There's just no way that you can go wrong with that. Okay. Like I said, if you want to make some changes to your marketing plan for the rest of this year or for the next 12 months, get my marketing plan template. You can get that, the Quick Start Marketing Plan template, over at the Louisville Gals Real Estate blog, or you can also get it at Sharon at SharonVornholt.com/marketing plan. And it'll be delivered right in your inbox. And as one of your top marketing strategies on there, make one of them follow up, and commit to following up with every single lead, dead lead, or person that has said no, because many of those you think are dead leads will turn out to not be dead leads at all. Okay, folks, well, that's it for today. I will see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now.